Coach. I hope you're doing well. I guess just looking back on the film from Saturday, what are some things that you saw go wrong and want to correct moving forward? Some takeaways that you thought you did well.
Yeah, first thing we addressed this morning was our tackling. We didn't think we tackled very well at all, especially out in space, but also in the box. We had, as we tracked it, 16 missed tackles for 150 yards of offense after the initial missed tackle. There might have been multiple missed tackles within a play, but the first missed tackle, and that includes the face mask. We thought down there when we had him backed up. We include that in those yardage as well. So, that's the first thing we got to work on fixing. We spent a lot of time in our meetings this morning, and, we're going to spend a lot of time on it, tomorrow in practice. Especially Tuesday being a big, contact day for us. We got to get out and we got to work better in space and how we're closing distance, how we're creating the footwork that we need to be better at. We talk about in our tackling, missed tackles usually happen because of space, leverage, and tracking issues, footwork issues. As you come to the contact, how you punch and use your arms, and then if usually if poor footwork, if your head and your eyes drop, you can't hit what you can't see. So when we watch those as a unit this morning, we're going to fix those things. That's the first thing that we got to do a better job with. Then I think things, our guys continue to show up, they continue to fight, and we challenge them even today. They can't let those circumstances dictate any type of behavior out of them, right? Their body language and who we are, we got to always work to be at our best, no matter whether it's the first play or 90th play of the game. We always got to be, again, our DNA, right? The takeaways, tackling, and effort. That's got to show up again, whether it's play 1 or play 90. It doesn't matter. We're not going to let those circumstances dictate our behavior and how we play and how we fight and how we strain and how we compete. So, keep challenging those guys to step up, stand up, and then, getting the leaders in each position room to do the same.
Matt and Jim.
Hey, Coach. There towards the end of the game, you guys got Caden Turner, Isaiah Jones, Vincent Snead in the game. I know not ideal because where the game was at that point,
Yep.
But for these guys, it's an opportunity, it's a chance. They get to see what the speed of college football is like. What did you guys see from them in that limited, those limited snaps? And how much would you like to maybe hopefully get them some more snaps in these last 3 games of the season?
That's certainly the beauty of what college football has done for us now with how they have allowed that 4-game red shirt for those guys. Just exactly, you're exactly right. Just, hey, the speed of the game and, the physical speed of the game, but also in the mental speed of the game, right? Or these calls, these checks, and, you're playing your base stuff at that point, what those guys are going to know best and be able to go execute the best. But still, there's, within even our base system, right? Different formations have different checks, different adjustments. So for those guys to have to go out and actually work at executing in the game, like you said. But then, you did see guys flying around. You saw Vincent Snead leaving his feet and making plays. You saw, Philip Dunham's another young guy we keep talking about, but he showed up, put his face in there, and, so that, it's just good for those guys. Even if it's for 4 plays today, Isaiah, that's what Isaiah Jones had, 4 plays, to be able to sit down and watch those 4 plays. He came downhill on one of them, put his face on a guy. Hey, it's great, big, offensive lineman for Penn State, and it's our backup guy too. But, hey, just see him come down and strike a guy and play with some physicality. Hey, this is what it's like, so to be able to take those little things and build off of them are certainly, positives for every guy at every level of our defense to get a couple reps of that. I think a guy like Andrew Turvey to be able to get in there and go play, and it was an emotional week for Andrew, his business, not ours, but to be able to go play in a game, meant something to him. So positive to be able to see a little bit of reward for some of those guys that don't always get that Saturday reward. Their rewards are Tuesday to Friday.
Jim Mason.
Hey, Coach, the defense obviously was a staple of this team's success the last few years, and there's been a fall off. Looking at the numbers from this past Saturday, Indiana made 91 tackles, Penn State with 56. But the thing that stood out to me is of the 91 for Indiana, only 3 were tackles for loss, and Penn State had 5 times that, half as many tackles. Have you been able to pinpoint why you guys aren't getting more pressure, getting to the ball, or just succeeding more on putting pressure on?
No, it's actually, we were in position to make some TFLs. It goes back to those missed tackle opportunities, whether it's an opportunity in the backfield and miss the quarterback, whether it's a check down that should have been a -2 yard TFL that goes for 47 yards, 47 yards later. So there's 49 yards of offense in one play that was actually supposed to be a TFL. So that's there's guys in positions to make plays. We've got to do a better job. It always begins with us as coaches. Always begins with us. I'm not going to sit here and say one player's name. It's just not what we're going to do. But it begins with us as coaches and saying, okay, identifying how we're teaching it, what we're teaching, holding the guys accountable. They've got to still go play and perform at some level too. Right before I came down, sitting with Brandon Shelby and Casey Teagarden in office, like, okay, how can we drill this different? And we're not going to change fundamentally what we teach, but how are we teaching it? How are we drilling it? How are we repping this in practice tomorrow to get the point across, get it home to those guys. So, certainly, there needs to be some more levels of disruption. Like you said, we had 3 TFLs, 1 sack on the day. That ain't, up to our standard, putting people behind the sticks. But some of it is when we're there, we got to go make those plays. And it does go back a little bit. Okay, how are we teaching this? How are we coaching it? How are we drilling it to make sure it gets executed when those opportunities arise on Saturdays?
Mason and Seth.
Coach, with this weekend's challenge being Ohio State, their dynamic offense in that hostile of an environment, how do you guys prepare? Is it anything different than, say, a game at home or a game against, I don't want to say a lesser opponent, but maybe not an opponent with the tradition and the success built up as Ohio State?
Yeah, I think that's more probably an offense question. Because they're the ones going to be on the field when it's more you get the noise. Playing on the road is typically for the defense it's harder playing at home because that's when the noise is. That's when the calls, the communication get harder at home because of the home field advantage for them. So I think for us it's not as much of that strain and stress. It'll be maybe even a little bit easier to go communicate. When you talk about obviously they're playmakers, they've got a bunch of them. They got a bunch of them, at every layer of their offense. From even on their offensive line, you look at the type of players they have up front. Quarterback is an outstanding player, and deserves every bit of accolade and credit that he's getting. You look at the receiver room. We said we really thought a lot of Maryland's receiver room, but that they're probably as deep as anybody other than. We said Ohio State, that room is as deep as probably anybody in college football, and the running backs are extremely talented, and they play a lot of tight ends and use their tight ends in a lot of different ways. So, they've got playmakers, at every layer and level of their offense. But, for our guys, we got to just focus on us at this point. What are the things we've got to do from a schematic standpoint? What are the things we've got to do from a fundamental standpoint? And, you're going to look at, who's getting the ball, how are they delivering the ball, where are they getting those guys the ball in space, because they love to get those playmakers the ball out in space. But we still have to, just fundamentally and from a technique and standpoint, put ourselves in the right position to go play and then go shoot your shots. That's one thing you don't want to do with these guys is, make yourself hesitant and sit and be on your heels. If you do that, they're really going to, give you problems, right? You got to go be aggressive. You got to go attack. And like I said, go shoot your shots. Leave no bullets in the chambers.
Seth.
Forgive me if this is something you've been asked or in like an earlier week. And I know, I'm not asking you to say anything bad about the offense, obviously, but when the offense when I use offense is having as much trouble staying on the field as they did this past week and, the last few weeks, and it's putting your defense back out on the field so often, how tough is that on your defense? And obviously that's not something you can control. So I guess how do you combat it?
We got to get stops when we have opportunities. Jimmy had a great day punting the ball, and we started drives on the -2 yard line that went and finished at the +45. We had a drive that started at the -15 and went for a touchdown. We have a drive that started at the -4 yard line and went for a touchdown. We had a couple other drives started at -6 and finished at the -26, and one that started at the -2, finished at the -8. So, my answer to you is we got to get off the field. Okay, if our offense is, get into some 3 and outs, why aren't we getting 3 and outs? You don't want to be on the field that much? Get off the field. It's not, that's on us at the end of the day. So I'm not going to put anything on our offense. Staying on the field. Well, we should get off the field then too. So we want to play less plays and we want to have more success. Don't give them a 96-yard drive for a touchdown when they start. Jimmy did a great job punting the ball and getting it inside the 5-yard line. And we control 2/3 of that because a lot of our guys on defense are on the special teams too. So when you look at the special teams situation, and you look at playing on defense, that's on us. That's the way this team works, right? You want to help our offense out. They start the drive on the -4-yard line, get a 3 and out, give the ball to our offense at the 50-yard line. Odds of scoring points go way up when you start at the 50 rather than hey, we start one at the -2 and we make them punt at the +45. So then where did our offense just start? Probably on the -2-yard line. So that's our approach to it. We're not going to take the easy way on that out at all. This is a team football game, always will be a team football game, and we got to play complementary football. And Jimmy does a great job putting that thing down in there. We got to get a stop and give our offense a short field, give them an opportunity to have an advantageous field position.
Tyler, last one.
Coach, curious about Cam Jones. Is he practicing, and do you expect him to play on Saturday?
Yeah, Cam is doing a great job with his rehab and his treatment, and it's certainly a week-to-week situation, but we are looking forward to getting him back here playing football as soon as possible, and he's doing a great job of doing the things he needs to do, put himself in that position to play very, very soon.